Hello and welcome to the STB League again here for the Tier 3 United States Grand Prix. And we are back at this circuit of Americas for round 14 out of 16. As we are coming towards the end of the season, we've got two more races left after this for all three tiers. And now it's Tier 3's turn to have their moment of in the stream. Obviously, as alongside we got in the com box, we've got Silent Pistol as Chaos retires from the session. He's crashed out in the first sector.
Well, so far it's been a pretty good qualifying session for Side Effects, but yet again this season, when has it not been a good qualifying session for Side Effects? The man in, qualifying, he has pace that cannot be matched. And right now his teammate can't match it. STB Maldi, the leader of the championship standings, the two Ferrari men, the winners of the constructors standings. They've been dominant all season, and that constructors victory in Monza secured their title. But can Maldi secure his for the next upcoming races? This race, of course, being USA, COTA. Next week we've got Mexico, and the last race of the season, a sprint race around Brazil. Can he tie up before Brazil, or will he do it on that nerve-wracking night? We'll have a look as he'll go on his outlap, and we'll see what he can do. Matthew, anything to quote on his previous lap time?
Side Effects, yeah, he seemed to have relatively good, just relatively consistent all through lap. No real mistakes, I don't think there was, especially in that third sector. Obviously, Side Effects does use full traction, so he's able to take full throttle, just a bit more corners, but obviously the control is going to be affecting him where he can't control it. Obviously, that's the problem with full traction control. It just limits your ability to do things the way you would like it to. There's a bit of a kerfuffle going down the street here. People trying to let people through, people trying to get into space. As I think that's an Alpine Jamo. No, it's not Jamo. It is Jimmy. He's span out of turn 1. But yeah, it's been interesting qualifying. Everyone else now out for their fastest laps. For the last, we've got Maldi going through the start of sector 3. So we will stay with him, I think.
Well, let's take a look at what he can do. The leader of the Drivers' Championship here in STB Tier 3, looking to expand that gap on JMO going into next week. It would be absolutely huge for him if he can just do that. He's going to come around that last turn to start off his qualifying lap here in US of A. Here in COTA, DRS wide open as he sits back, relaxed, going around 200 or so miles per hour, going into that first turn, braking at the DRS line, now spiking at miles per hour right up in the middle of the turn. Of course, having that medium traction, it allows you to spike up that traction control, that throttle when you're around mid-corner. And always invalidated it. He goes just the inside of the S sections, a very tricky part of the circuit. He invalidates his lap time here, but we look onto his teammate Side Effects to see if he can just expand more in his lap time and potentially seal the deal on pole position.
Yeah, on board Side Effects now through turn 1 he goes, through turn 2. The car's obviously finishing lap times off now. Through the fast sector, not really exposing all that left-hander there. He's missing apexes here. Has missing some curves that he could use, but he's still he's still half tenth up nevertheless. Not purple. He's obviously gaining his time other places from the last lap. But now obviously down into his hairpin. Obviously it's very important to get a good traction out of it, because this will carry your speed all the way down into sharp left-hander at the end of this DRS straight. Obviously a great alpha taking opportunity. Most popular one, I think, down the straight.
Well, it seems like Alpha Z, by the way, of course, he will be the only man to try and take away pole position due to Maldi's invalidated lap time. But Alpha Z, he hasn't improved on his lap time so far. Yilmaz would be the next man to potentially get that pole, but he's... And yep, Side Effects could be still improving on his lap time. He's been unbelievable. Electric through every qualifying session that, nevertheless, I've commentated on. Goes through this right-hander once more. Cartel Han Yilmaz puts himself P3 on the grid. Can he keep it? As Alpha Z comes across the line, he qualifies that measly P4. Around the last turn, though, for Side Effects, and he invalidated his lap time, but I don't think it will matter for the Ferraris. Will come round that last turn, triumphing everybody else on the grid in this qualifying session. He comes out on pole once again here in STB.
Yep, side effects on pole once again. And I think he's a bit like Charles Leclerc. He gets his qualifying done, but he doesn't really, most time, doesn't really get this done, gets it sealed up at the end. But that is how it is. Now, we got more wins than less pole qualifying. But yep, side effects is your pole position runner for this qualifying session. Side effects on pole. Maldi alongside in P2. Ferrari 1-2 again. It's very familiar in this Tier 3 grid. As got Yilmaz, also a championship contender, still in P3, and Amjad P4, Alpha Z P5, Magic P6, new driver for tonight. Daniel P7, Callum back in Tier 3, P8, Chris P9, Mad Maxwell P10. Jamo never got a lap in after his medium lap, P11, Chaos P12, Mara P13, new driver again, Lotto P14, Goralski P15, Avita P16, Russell P17, new driver again, F1X Jimmy P18. I just don't think he set a record in that time, as he still set a very, very slow lap time on a set of mediums.
Well, here we go then, folks. We'll load into the 28th lapper here in US of A COTA. I mean, the only question we have going into this Grand Prix is there going to be rain? Doesn't look like there will be for the start of it. Seems like it's all sunny skies here in Austin, Texas. Shortly, we'll get on to that formation lap. We'll check through the tyres, see who's on whose strategy, and when those 5 red lights go to green or go to black, we'll see what happens going into that wide first turn.
Yep, certainly is. You can see many cars trying to make moves, obviously, with that very, very wide track. People trying to slip it down the inside, but make sure you don't get too tight on the inside, because you're going to be very compromised on exit, and you find yourself getting pushed and shoved through turn 1.
And at the same time, you don't want to be pulling off for George Russell and potentially spinning Carlos Sainz in the process. So people are going to obviously avoid that due to penalties after the race for stewarding. But we've got 15 seconds until people have to warm up their tyres, get ready to line up on that grid, and then stare out those 5 red lights, anticipating them to go on their throttle.
Yep, formation up to get off at the start first, and we see how strategy comes out. Obviously, mediums and softs, or softs and mediums, however you want to do it. All on preference. You want to start on the fresher tyres, softer tyres at the start, or the more harder tyres, more durable, and start at near the end on the better tyre. I think majority of the people on the harder tyre. Bob Magic's on mediums and P6. We've got Chris on mediums. We also got Memo and Lotto on mediums. So there's more people at the back, surprisingly, actually starting on the medium tyres. Normally you expect it to be the other way around. Obviously, medium runners, you want to be taking advantage of those medium runners, the medium tyres in the fresh air. Maybe these guys want to pick up some good places off the start, try and get some track position, and then hopefully when they do go onto the hards, they can just keep that place. But obviously we'll see how that runs out. But yep, side effects along in front of Maldi. Once again, very familiar with Maldi behind side effects, both on the front row. See how it unfolds on the race pace.
Yeah, that 1-2 for Ferrari has been somewhat of a reoccurring scene. It's been happening quite some time in this season. I mean, those two have just been on top of their game. Maldi potentially on top of the game right now, of course, leading that championship by 32 points to JMO, who's down into P11, not even starting at the points for him. So unless Maldi really messes this up, he could be in for some very, very good points to expand that gap going into next week, which is of course Mexico, a track that Maldi reportedly does particularly like, and he says himself he would back himself to potentially eclipse the title in the next couple of races. But will that happen? Well, the first step towards that is by trying to get in some good points here in COTA. Can he do that tonight? We'll have a see in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, they come to finish off this formation lap. So in fact, slowing things down through here, just trying to prepare his tyres in the way he wants them to. Try and bunch up this field a little bit, but I think he's Alpha House is just lagging behind a little bit, but it does seem like they were quite quick through there, so I think this driver's just been caught napping a little bit. They'll come down, obviously down into this pit lane straight, or we concentrating on getting their tyres warmed up now. Very important to get those rear tyres up to temperature, get a good traction after the start. It's obviously very important, especially going up a hill into turn 1, as the cars will drop again to turn 2. Maldi's disqualified. He has got his grid place wrong It's a bit surprising because he never does that. I'm a bit surprised how that's happened. As Daniel and Chris now, of course, are filling their slots. Memo's also been disqualified, so a few disqualified disqualifications as they're all dropped in now. Lights are on, but I think it's going to be another glitch start.
5 round lights. It's another glitch start, of course. Green light, go, go, go! Here in STB, in Tier 3, in
massive collision!
Massive collision in
McLaren
midfield! People spinning all over the place, going down into that first turn. And now for a McLaren, a Mercedes, everybody spinning into that first turn. But Maldi looking for the overtake, going on to side effects, gets the manoeuvre, round the outside, going into that first turn, and instantly Maldi getting a critical position, moving up into P1 very early on in this Grand Prix, getting that move on his teammate. It's absolutely crucial for the championship standings. But my oh my, what a collision that was in the midfield. We saw Alpha C, JMO being one of those men, spun around. That's absolutely critical as MJ goes side by side with Chris here going into the left-hander. The McLaren versus the AlphaTauri onto the exit. It's going to be a much more better exit there for Chris, as he's now going to come back in with him with MJ, sorry, with that ERS going down the straight just up ahead. Yilmaz versus Memo. We'll turn our attention to that shortly as the Haskell goes round the outside of the Mercedes. They're still side by side going onto the exit. Looks like the Mercedes just pulling away from Yilmaz, and he's able to defend the position here. But what a start to this Grand Prix so far. Side effects is still, oh no, MJ makes a big mistake, and he's slipping down the order once more.
Yep, he's just doing what he's doing in Tier 2. Making many mistakes. He's trying to limit them as Murawski's made a mistake. A lot of cars bunching up here from mistakes. As Callum seems to have passed Lotto. There's a bit of squabbling on. He's gone wide. Lotto's gone wide. It looks like Maxwell is looking to take advantage of it. And he's been squeezed off the circuit. But now he's got a Williams alongside him. Lots of contacts. Wheel-to-wheel contacts to be made. And now they're all jostling down into turn 1. Hopefully they just sorts themselves out. Jammers in the pit lane where he picks up some damage. Assume so.
Down the inside, Alpha goes on Matador here, going to that first turn. And it looks like Matador made a big mistake there, and he spun round because of it. Just too eager to get on the throttle. But like you stated, Rafita, I believe, got an overtake on Daniel, or either went side by side with Loto. Yes, so Rafita also doing well. But Maldi spun! Oh no, he's sideways on the track, ghosting from that left-hander. He'll be ahead of JMO, so at least you've got that to count on in terms of the championship. So at least he's fun in terms of there.
He's put himself right in the middle of this train now. He's got ahead of
Exactly, that's going to be very, very big for him later on to the Grand Prix. And you can just see Memo upfield could be looking for the overtake on side effects. That outside lane, that ERS, he's absolutely burnt it out. And because of it, he's actually got P1 in the Grand Prix here in Kota. But Maldi spinning in lap 2 of 28. It's not too bad for him in terms of the championship. He would still gain points on JMO, but still, nevertheless, it just makes those 25 points a lot more challenging.
Yeah, he's got to find his way back through here. Got to get his tyres back down to temperature. The Williams has a big moment. Magic exit that corner now. Just got to find his groove, get his head back in the right place, get himself sat down, and just dig deep and push on.
It looks like it could be Chris versus Chaos going into this first turn. They went side by side into that progressive right hand. That's a big mistake from Chaos onto the exit. DRS is going to be enabled this lap as Chris will be looking for that move into the first turn. Down the inside he goes on the Mercedes. They're going to be side by side going onto the exit. It seems like Chaos defends the position, but Callum versus Magic, both the Williams going side by side going into the right hander. They shortly go through the S's. Magic and oh, a switch back here from Magic, looking for it into that S section. That would have been fantastic. But Callum making a mistake here on his, a little bit of a collision. Oh no, Callum's been spun! Yeah. And he's been spun by Mad Max.
Offline, and he was caught on the inside, and I think the car ahead of him, I think he was just going to that corner way too tight. And obviously everyone else taking a different line. I think the gap was there, but just the complete angle he was going to get sliced off. The lines were going to cross. I don't necessarily think that was the AlphaTauri's fault, really.
There's a little bit of a battle to report here. It's Chris versus Chaos going into this left-hander, into the hairpin. What's going to happen between the two of them? It looks like the AlphaTauri will have the inside line. Oh, massive contact going into that turn. That could have been a very massive moment for the Mercedes. Just squeezing and squeezing the AlphaTauri. They eventually caught wheels and they almost took it into the wall. Looks like Maldi here could be picking up a position here, but down the inside, Magic goes on Chaos. And there's going to be side by side going on to this exit here. Maldi just behind. He's going for the middle. He's going for the middle. Now into the inside on Magic. He's going to be spun. He is. He's spun. He's been spun. Contact between the Williams and the Ferrari. He's now going to be out of the points. And he's going to go through these next two left-handers. He's still going to be ahead of J-Mo by a lot of seconds. But nevertheless, he's out of the points. He's got to try and catch back up, get back into those points. I think that's just a very risky move there from Maldi that you can't really take.
Put it right down the middle. Obviously, put him so the middle's generally the worst place to be, or sometimes can be the best place to be, depending on the situation. But in that situation, it's the worst. You have the Mercedes on the inside of him, obviously making him go wide. I think Mad Max obviously just give him some space, but obviously not giving 3 car lengths, 3 car lengths of space. And obviously Maldi in the just making contact with them, and obviously Mad Max on the outside carrying more speed, interlocking tyres, caught them, got around. I did mention about Maldi getting stuck in their midfield. It's very chaotic there. Maldi's obviously lacking some midfield battles after this season. He's getting himself back into what he was last season, if not the season before, where he was more in the midfield group, where he's more battle. Obviously now got very comfortable up front. He needs to get back to the unpredictability of these big trains.
Well, now you can just see him losing position there to MGeld. So he's now backing down into that P12, but you can just see MGeld getting very close now to Lotto going into the turn. Not going to look for a move. Jimmy could be going side by side with someone though.
Oh, so Maldi made a move to McLaren, and Maldi's had more contact with MGeld. Here's a half spin there. That's about half a tenth. Half a second.
Well, he's redrawn the track here next to Lotto, going into the right-hander now.
Mad Max has just been spun round by Chaos. So Mad Max has just been given the pain of what Maldi just had to himself.
A little bit of karma, you could say, for him, as he gets spun, as MGL does get that overtake on Lotto. Then down the inside he went, going into the last turn of the track. Lotto, all out of shape, going onto that exit, and now Maldi with that DRS going to pull alongside with the Aston Martin, and going into that first turn. Looks like Lotto's not giving any room, and he's not going to be able to defend his position. Clean sweep overtake there from Maldi as he uses that ERS and DRS.
Yeah, taking advantage of that. Obviously, MJ made that move. The big corner got there by Maldi. Lotto made that, obviously, lost position.
Oh, Memo spun, by the way! Memo spun, and that gives Side Effects the lead of the Grand Prix. Looks like Memo spins where Maldi did literally perfectly. Picked a carbon copy of what Maldi did. And Memo feels the same pain as Maldi did as he drops into the midfield once more. And Yilmaz could be on for another victory here if he keeps up what he's doing so far. One in Monza by only a 10.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the controller just cut out or not, but Memo, not quite getting the memo of keeping his car in the podium places. But I'm sure he can try and get back into that position. Maldi obviously up to the P9 after that move. Giles now the next car ahead of him. Obviously, you can get back into it here. Back behind Magic. So that you can do. You have to be sticking behind Side Effects for the time being. It's just about hanging it within DRS. As Side Effects is a lot quicker through that last corner. Hello, Pistol?
Well, Maldi's yeah, I'm back. Maldi's going to look for this overtake on MGeld. I mean, he's going to try and do a little bit of a recovery drive after spinning from P1 to P7, then spinning again, back down into P12, climb back up into P8 due to more spins up ahead. Spin after spin after spinning. Kota, I mean, you probably guess what's next. It's probably spins, and we'll see who's going to be one of the victims of their rear end being lost. But we'll find out if Maldi can overtake MGeld soon, as MGeld might not have DRS this lap. Maldi cutting the corner there in the S's, and Yilmaz has dropped 4 tenths or 5 tenths in such a short amount of time. That is unbelievable from Side Effects.
Yeah, so that's putting the gap there. He did get a bit of a gap out of the last corner. He did have DRS Yilmaz into turn 1. Yilmaz obviously having a bit of a shocking first sector then.
Well, MGL's going to use that ERS and DRS on Chaos going into the left-hander here. Are they going to be side by side going into the left-hander? The McLaren gaining. Is he too far back? He doesn't think he is. Down the inside he goes on Chaos. Just a dive bomb that worked, and he's up into P7.
Yep, I think MJ's running a little bit higher wings than Chaos. Just seems as soon as you let go of the overtake button, your car just bogs down, and Angel didn't quite have the speed to actually get alongside him, but he's got the downforce and the grip to stick it one down the inside and get the move done. So, move done nonetheless, just using the extra downforce to his advantage if that's the case. But next one to be overtake Chaos is Maldi, also trying to work his way back up the field once again.
Well, Maldi's going to use that DRS going into the first turn. Will he be close enough to go for the move on the Mercedes? Here he comes using that DRS, not using so much of ERS, but he's going to send it around the outside of the Mercedes. They're going to be side by side going onto the exit, and that's picture perfect for Maldi, just what he needed, just trying to get past Chaos as quickly as he can, and he's done just that. MJ's not going to have DRS on Alpha Z, so potentially this could be a big opportunity for Maldi to have that DRS on MJ and get some overtakes, but it just seems like he won't have that actually going into the left-hander. And MJ's been absolutely on it, by the way, just gaining through for the S's, and I think that's what you just pointed out. Might be using those higher wings, and that's where it's coming really effective, really key. Those high wings, and we'll see how it comes into play later on in the Grand Prix.
Yep, obviously using his higher wings, you're compromising yourself down the straights, but in the corners, you have to really take advantage of those wings.
And Alpha Z versus Memo going into the left-hander now. The Alfa Romeo versus the Mercedes. Memo, of course, looking to recover from spinning earlier on. And they're going to be side by side going through this right-hander, going into the left one. What's going to happen? Oh, a little bit of contact, a little bit of shoving around that left-hander. Mercedes versus Alfa Romeo. It looks like the Alfa Romeo comes on top. Maybe not the cleanest of manoeuvres, but it certainly gets the job done.
Yep, Alfa Romeo up. There's yellow flags. Maldi's round again.
Oh,
he's round. Oh, Maldi. And also Callum's also round as well, but he's hit the barriers. He's lost some of his end plate on the right hand side of his front wing, so he has had the worst of it. He's the worst one to get out. There's a bit of a checker saying there by Daniel, just going through there. But yep, Callum getting the worst out of it. Obviously, he's on those hard tyres, so he really needs to carry that front wing damage until he's pit stop, or he pits now. But his strategy is now ruined, and not sure if you can do 21 laps instead of mediums. It's definitely a very big push on his tyres.
Yeah, and also Maldi, he's going to be very angry after that, of course, and why wouldn't you be? But I mean, in these situations, you've got to just focus on keeping your tyres to normal temperature and making sure you can just continue on in the race, not spin anymore. We'll see if he can just do that as he tries to overtake Grafita up ahead, who almost spun through that left-hander now, going into the I'm just going to say chicane, don't know why I said that, into the hairpin now. Can Maldi look for the overtake on the exit, can have that DRS going into the left-hander now. DRS, will he use some ERS to his advantage? He's going to rely solely on that DRS. No, never mind, uses some ERS to get past the Haas car. Can he do it before the apex? He can. And Maldi now back into the points.
Yep, nicely he's got a bit of gap ahead of him now, so Maldi's got some chance, some time to actually find some rhythm by himself, get the groove on, get himself back into shape. Obviously, just puts him in a better place for now. He can focus solely on his driving, see what we can do to sort himself out for here. Obviously, span for here. He can get PTSD now. It's definitely more than he was last race and yesterday's race. It was almost down to about 60% throttle through there.
Ooh, sorry, Memo just had a massive moment off the exit of the last turn. Had to really just cut back on the track just to really get his car to the apex, and MJ's looking to capitalise on that mistake. Down the inside he goes on the Mercedes going into that first turn. It does not have the better exit considering he has that inside line, and Chaos is able to retain his position for now, but big moments there from the Mercedes, and MJ cut the corner around the outside. There he's looking to go on Memo, somehow keeping it clean for now, going into the left-hander. Mercedes versus McLaren yet again. They're still side by side. Now into this left-hander. MJ completes the overtake, but at what cost? He gets that 3 seconds. He's going to have to really get a move on here if he's looking to gain more distance.
Yeah, he cut the which one is it? The left-hander of turn 3.
Ooh,
again turn 5.
He made another critical. Yeah, he had another critical mistake on the exit of that left-hander, and now Memo capitalises on that as well. Gets the manoeuvre done before the apex. Oh, but MJL sends it back up the inside. Looks like Memo just about gives him the room needed, and MJL, due to that massive send, the stupid send, you could say, he now has to retreat back. Maybe not. Maybe down the inside here. He does look for it. Stupid dive bombs after stupid dive bombs, but will it pay out? No, it will. No, it won't. Sorry. The exit was horrible for MJL. Here into the right-hander. Is he going to spin? I don't think he will. I think he's fine, but only for now.
Yeah, so also got a very early pit stop here. Oh, MJL is round as Chris pits in very, very early stop. And MJL has span. He is keeping a reputation for probably the most spins in a week of racing in STB. Obviously, he's done both Tier 2 and Tier 3 this week. He's spanned more times than I have fingers to count on my hands. Blaski's also in the pits. No, that's Chris. Sorry, in the pits. Very, very early stop.
To be honest, I don't know if Chris should have pitted this early. 18 laps on the hards.
It's easy. You could probably do about 18 laps on the set of hard mediums. The tyre wear is not too bad on those mediums and the hard tyres. It's the softs that tend to struggle quite a lot compared to the other two tyres. Can't say about softs.
Well,
Callum's just fast for the race, but he is 12 seconds behind on 2 laps sold off. I did say he was compromised, but he's made another stop since then. No, that's right. That is the same. That is the tyres he pitted on. So Callum obviously on a compromised setup now. Strategy. He's going to have to go soft and then back on set mediums later on.
And now MJ looking for a move here on Loto. Oh no!
Oh,
he
massive!
hit the wall. They made massive contact, and because of it, they're both in the wall. Looks like Lotto was able to recover it the best out of the both of them. But MJ, I'm not.
Lotto doesn't have a front wing. How do we mean came out the back of it?
I mean, in terms of recovering, I said in terms of recovery, we got in the track quicker. He's got the better out of it. But MJ completely loses his front right end plate. I don't know how he didn't lose a front right wheel. That is, that's reduced damage for you.
Yeah, it's probably just stops any necessary damage to get place. Just keeps the race a bit more interesting. Obviously, with 4 damage, it's just standard anyway, or whatever it is. 4 damage. It just stops people getting the most unnecessary front wing damage. Last thing you want is to just slightly taps the back of somebody, and your front wing just slots off. You know, for the
MJL, mate, MJL, be quiet. No, don't start hastening inside the Twitch stream. No, don't. Don't start disrespecting other drivers. You do it after the race. You don't do it in between. No.
Yeah,
back off of it. Now. It happened. Move on.
I don't know why you're on the stream anyway. It shouldn't be on the stream. Get yourself in the racing. Get yourself back on there. Anything that happens. 17 laps left. When you cross the line.
Looks like Chris and Memo's looking to go side by side through those S sections, but quickly they realise it's not the greatest of ideas. But it looks like JMO looking to capitalise. They make massive contact, and it's 3-1 going into the left-hander. JMO getting the worst out of the both of them, and look at Memo, he's just completely gone wide, and Chris rejoined the track right directly next to him. Looks like Memo's going to get a better exit of the both of them. Is Chris going to send it going into the left-hander? I don't think he will, but he has completely sent it on the Mercedes. AlphaTauri versus Mercedes. Looks like the AlphaTauri can't get the manoeuvre completed.
Yeah, it looks like, luckily for Memo, he's just about scrubbed off the grass off his tyres before he got into that corner, but he's had a mistake there, and Chris goes up the inside.
Yeah, that is a very, very ambitious dive bomb. Just makes a bit of contact with the Mercedes ahead of him. Well, now, of course, behind him as he gets the manoeuvre completed. Jamer now gaining on Memo going into the left-hander. Mad Max with a second tyre penalty. Has a big mistake there from Memo. It makes JMO go side by side with him, going into the left-hander. Now onto the exit they go. DRS can be wide open. Memo also with that DRS, he's able to get the manoeuvre, able to defend his position. But going into that first turn now, down the inside the Alpine goes of the Mercedes. It'll be side by side going onto the exit. What's going to happen? What's the turnout between these two giants battling? And it looks like Memo's going to get the better exit, and he gets the defense completed now. He does not need to worry about JMO going to go down the inside of him anymore. Well, he actually might if He's going to continue making mistakes with the S's like that, but I think he's fine just for now, as Maldi really gaining now on Chaos, going into the left-hander. Can he get a manoeuvre completed on the Mercedes? Looking for that outside lane, going into the left-hander. What can he do? Braking. It's still side by side. Going onto the exit, the Ferrari is able to get the manoeuvre completed just before the safety car comes out.
Jimmy has crashed out of the hairpin of turn 11. He's lost his front wing, and that's what caused it. It should be fine to go onto the mediums, I could assume now, because it's probably going to be a 3-lap safety car. Should be fine to go on mediums from now till the end. So anyone who's made a pit stop recently has just been slapped in the face.
Yep, and it looks like side effects peeling into the pit lane to change onto the hard set compound tyres. Alpha coming into the pit lane. Why on earth is he on the set of softs?
You might start on the mediums.
I'm not too sure, to be honest, Matt. Yeah, very odd from your man pissing on softs.
Why is he not gone to mediums?
Absolutely no clue. Anyways, nevertheless,
not going to go to the end. He is. I think he's just lost his podium. If it's not enough safety car, he's lost his podium. I think he's lost it. He's going to be fighting behind sound effects, and as soon as he pits, he's going to lose all track position. He's going to be rapid, but he's going to lose so much track position. He's not going to gain 10 places back in the space of about 7-8 laps. I just don't see that happening.
Well, right now, Maldi, despite spinning quite a bit so far, I think he'd. Well, I mean, I would call it a success for him so far, but we all know what Maldi's like. He probably wouldn't call it a success story for himself. Though Toby joins the track, of course, ahead of Mad Max. Looks like people just exiting the pit lane. We might get no, I was going to say we might get safety car starting this lap, but no, I think it'll come next lap. Next lap, we'll go green once more here in US of A. So far, been an entertaining race. Multiple overtakes, multiple action, multiple spins. One of the men who has spanned the most, has been Maldi. But funnily enough, he's been able to rebuild himself and climb back up into P7 in the Grand Prix now. And with this pit, what do you expect? Where do you expect him to place himself on the grid come the last turn of the track? Matthew?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to do something there. Yeah, Maldi's effectively P6. Chaos has not made a pit stop yet. Don't know why he is not pitted for new tyres. He's basically just screwed himself over, because yeah, he can go about 5-6 laps longer and then put on a set of mediums, but he's going to lose so much track position. He may as well just retire at this point. But obviously not going to, as the Williams did over weave, trying to get some temperature in his hard tyres. But yeah, Chaos, I think he's just screwed himself over. I think it would be more better for him if he just double stacked behind his teammate. But we'll see how that works out for him.
Well, might be next lap we get the safety car in. We'll go green. I believe Callum can catch up. I mean, he hasn't had a great Grand Prix by any means, but he is a tier 2 driver, and that's for a reason. So we can probably expect him to catch up to the safety car, unlike Matador in Belgium. But here we go then, ladies and girls. We'll get the safety car restarted this lap, and we'll go green once more with most people pitting on some new tyres. Of course, Chaos not being one of them. We'll see what happens though on the restart.
Yeah, right for these guys. These guys can have warmer tyres compared to everyone else when it comes to the restart, because these guys have been running at higher speeds. Keep the tyres nice and toasty. Jimmy's just taking his time. No need to push. No need to take anywhere out the tyres when you don't need it. Take as long as you can. He's got all lap to catch up to the safety car. Yeah, we'll just see how Yilmaz goes. Those tyres are 100% not going to get to the end. They only last about 7-8 laps max. It will definitely get a pit stop. So if it's only going to work if you can get past side effects instantly and pull a gap, then puts on another set of softs to go to the end. So he doesn't have, you won't have the same set of softs available to him, because he would have used at least 2 in qualifying, and that would have been his 3rd set available to him. So he wouldn't have a fresh set left. So I'm a bit questionable with the strategy, because he won't have a fresh set left that aren't scrubbed, which is not recommended on softs, because those scrubbed set of softs have always lost their best tyres.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The safety car comes in this lap. We go green once more here in the US of A. Side effects leading the way of Yilmaz to Chaos to Magic to Alpha to Chris to Baldi to Memo to Vorosky to Rafita to Jamo to Lotto to Mad Max to Daniel to Gerald to Jimmy to Matador and to Callum. Here we go then, folks. We've got Yilmaz on the soft compound tyres. On the restart safety car, he should be absolutely rapid. We'll see if he can get a manoeuvre done on side effects going into the first turn. But here we go. When is side effects can go full throttle? Oh, he's got him right now, very early from side effects. We're going to come round that last turn. ERS going to be used on the exit. It's pulled around a 7/10 gap over to Yilmaz. Great start in from Magic as he comes round that line, and he comes side by side here with Chaos going into the first turn. Where's Alpha going to be? Out of the end of this, Magic down the inside of Chaos, and he completes the manoeuvre right at the end of the apex, and he's got the overtake on Chaos. But Alpha going into the S sections, is he going to look for an overtake? I don't think he will. Going back to Mari though, this is going to be a huge restart for him. Can he climb up some positions or two due to some spins, due to some just pure overtakes? We'll have a look later on in the Grand Prix as things mould out later on. But here we go. Alpha looking for the overtake here on Chaos. Going to pull alongside with the Mercedes. Down the inside he'll go of the Mercedes, going into the hairpin, into that left-hander, and onto the exit. Alpha's going to get the manoeuvre. Chaos now is side by side with Chris after getting a poor exit. Chris looking for the overtake on Chaos once more. And I don't think he'll get it. Just pulled alongside, haven't really got the exits. The lower wings not coming too much effect for Chris if he is using them, of course. But here we go, Chris into whoa, what's he doing here? Almost go straight into the back of the Mercedes.
Chaos is running lower wings and Chris is running higher wings. Oh, they've hit the back of each other!
Oh no! He's absolutely punted the Mercedes. Jesus.
He got damage.
I mean that is Jesus Christ. I mean that is quite the punting. Got to be honest. Like it's almost like he did it on purpose, just straight to the side. Remember, got.
Chaos on all tyres. He's pitting this lap. It's not worked out for him. I don't know why he stayed out on those tyres. It's just ruined his own race. He's got into other battles he just did not need to get into. He was so slow on 50 lap old hards compared to everyone else's fresher, much fresher mediums and harder tyres. So he was just compromised AF, and he's actually going to come out dead last after all this. So it's not worked out for him at all.
Well, here's Maldi. He's getting very close here to Chris. Chris is 1.5 seconds away from Alpha Z, sorry. Rafita gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, but Maldi, can he get a critical move on Chris? Going into that left-hander onto this back straight, using that DRS, using his potentially ERS. Can he get the overtake? Well, no DRS, of course, due to the restart safety car. I think DRS will come this lap, but Maldi with solely ERS, can he look for an overtake on Chris going into the left-hander? Jimmy DNFs. Maldi looks for the outside lane. Oh, it's another safety car. Instantly, we get another one.
He's done the exact same thing as last time. Only difference is he's managed to retire it, and with reduced damage, that's very impressive. I've never seen anyone spin out that corner. He's done it very late on. How has he crashed that far out from the hairpin? That's questionable.
Well, I mean, Matthew, do you think anybody who's just pitted should pit again for the same set compound tyres, or do you think to just stay out, not worth the risk?
Stay out. Yeah, there won't many people have fresh tyres left, to be honest. It's still too early for the softs as well. If I was Yilmaz, I would pit. He's not going to get anything from staying out, to be honest, which he has. The tyres not going to get to the end anyway. Mal, just get the pit stop done now while you have the safety car, but he's decided to stay out. Yilmaz, I think he's done a big mistake on his strategy. And if I was Chaos, I'd be kicking myself. Chaos could have easily stayed out under the lap, and he's lost time because of it. And he's out to do a pit stop in full race conditions instead of under the safety car. A couple of cars in the pits for more mediums. These guys still have a fresh set of mediums left in their pockets.
Well, we'll get going once more. I mean, what? Magic just teleported on my screen for some reason. He's in 5th, apparently. Did not know that. Just completely teleported randomly on my screen. He's apparently ahead of Maldi now. So
He's always been ahead of Maldi.
cool.
You just saw the battle, you know.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. Maldi was ahead behind Chris, wasn't
Yeah, it's a bit odd, but
he? Yeah,
nonetheless.
unless Maldi made a mistake or something. But yeah, that's debatable. Questionable about how that's just happened, but we will see. Obviously, waiting for Matador.
Well, Matador, he might catch up, you know. I mean, I'll back him up on this. I mean, he might get it done.
It'll be another lap of safety car anyway, I think.
I think it'll be like in that right-hander, but it'll be too late. By the time he catches up, so he'll go out for one more lap.
You still need another lap of safety car anyway. It's only the first lap of the safety car, isn't it? So, you need another lap anyway, even if it does catch up.
Yeah, and well, Yilmaz not pitting. Of course, you say it's a mistake. I agree that it is a mistake from Yilmaz. He needs to do better.
He's got nothing to stay. He's got no reason to stay out. He knows those tyres aren't going to get to the end, and staying out of them, he's just lost a free pit stop.
Okay, what? Okay, sorry. What is Magic doing? He let Maldi go by. I don't know what happened. He was ahead of Maldi on the safety car. He's now behind Maldi in the safety car. He was behind Memo, but let Memo, well, just went in front of Memo. I don't know what Magic's doing. But this is not the kind of Magic you want to see under a safety car. I'll tell you that for sure. Matador then going to come around the last turn. Of course, safety car will be out for just one more lap. We'll go green once more in Kota around these 20 or so turns, 25 or so turns here in the Circuit of the Americas, and we'll see what happens on the restart. Will side effects keep his P1? Will Yilmaz, even though he has the soft compound tyres, can he get an overtake on side effects? We'll have to see.
Yep, those tyres are all in your going. I'm surprised those tyres are about 20% worn already, 25% worn at this time already. These tyres probably wearing out, probably about 7-8% a lap. So come up to the safety car so you can help him, but he's definitely still never seen no pit stop. At this moment in time, safety car will most definitely be in this lap. Get some racing done. Getting a little bit fed up with these late safety cars here. Just starting to get a little bit agitated. Want to get this race done and get some action in.
I'm sure we'll see that when that safety car does peel into the pit lane. Unlike what Yilmaz did, unlike what I forgot who else didn't pit. Who was it? It might be I'm not sure. It might be just my memory from last safety car because it was so recent. But we've got 10 or so laps left here in Kota. Maldi P5 right now would gain some good points on JMO actually. He would actually be only P10. No, he would technically be P12 right now, JMO. So right now, Maldi he's on cloud 9. He's loving this so far. You know, even though he's 5th place, he did tell me that his main priority is not to win races, but it's rather to just gain points on JMO. But here we go then. Safety car is in this lap. Can he get the overtake Yilmaz despite being on those soft compound tyres? We'll see. Side effects leading the way of Yilmaz, of Alphas, of Chris, of Maldi, of Magic, of Memo, of Biroski, of JMO, of Loto, of Daniel, of Callum, of Rafita, of MJ, of Chaos, of Mad Max, of Matador. So,
yeah, by the way, you have to keep some RV between every single one of them.
I don't know. I kind of like saying that, to be fair. I don't know why. But nevertheless, looks like Side Effects also loves. Going a tiny bit early, just went, whoa!
Yeah, a bit cheeky that was.
Yeah, a little bit of a confusion moment there
Alpha
from your Effects, and that's a great restart there from Alphas. Now pulling alongside with a soft runner of Yilmaz going into that first turn, having that inside lane. On Yilmaz, does he get the better exit? It's difficult. Having that inside line, but he does get it. Maldi doing a carbon copy of what Alphas did. But Yilmaz coming straight back at Alphas here. Run the outside, he went going into the S's, and he defends his position proudly.
Some small battles towards the back. Some has been done. That's Chaos. Now in a battle, those cars at the back. Lots up in as Memo's gone round. Memo's round. We've also got Manic's in the barriers as well. We've got some leading cars in the barriers. Memo's not getting the memo of staying on the track. Magic's in the bad. He's lost his front wing and no safety cars come out for help for him. So his race is, I think, now effectively finished. He's out of this race, out of the points. Out with no front wing. Gemma's now picked himself with P7. Maldy's managed to get himself past Chris at some point as Alpha Z's getting compromised behind Yilmaz. Yilmaz obviously on his softs, hanging in there.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Maldy, because you've got Yilmaz pitting. I would say that Maldy's I mean, no offense, Alphas, but I feel like Maldy probably could overtake Alphas in the next few laps or so. So we'll see where he'll turn up at the end of this. It's just really depending on whether he's got the pace or side effects to win this race. I mean, we know side effects has the pace. He shouldn't qualify. He qualified, I think, a second or so. I'm not too sure. It was an unbelievable lap time for me. It might have been 5/10, something like that. He got pole off of. So Maldy knows that side effects is quicker, but it's more of consistency in a race rather than your actual pace. But nevertheless, going into the first turn here, looks like MGL's going side by side with Rafita, going onto the exit now. Oh, you cannot use that inside curb, Rafita, and he's all out of shape going into the S's due to that. Almost spun. He's very lucky to keep his car in shape. Yep,
we saw Magny do that yesterday. We saw him spin in front of Maldy when he used that inside curb. Even with the really good grip he had around that section, he can't use that curb at all. As I think Magel is up the inside of Mad Max. It's just punting him off the circuit. A little bit of a cheeky pushing off there as Magic's now onto intermediates. This is not the Mac Williams I thought would be on intermediates, to be honest. Unless it is, unless it's raining later on in this race, because it is getting cloudy.
Well, Mad Max re-overtakes MGL after hitting the back of him, actually. Not sure what was going on there. Maybe some blood boiling between the two of them after that. What was that?
That was me realising why Yilmaz has just gone to soft tyres.
Oh!
I think what he's thinking, there's some rain coming on later on in this race. This is why Yilmaz is on to softs and Magic's now intermediates. I think we're due for some rain at the end of this race. Are we going to get some...
To be fair, that is... No, honestly, Yilmaz, that is kind of genius, to be fair. Going on those softs, nobody else went on softs.
Gain anything from it, but the problem is now he's put himself in a very difficult place. Those tyres are going to be getting quite badly worn at this point. They're probably going to be about 50% worn around this time. He's had a couple of laps of safety car to help him drag those tyres out longer. The safety car's probably been... Well, 2 safety cars have been an absolute treat for him, probably. But his tyres aren't going to last much longer. Maybe we've got 2 more laps, maybe. I think we should hope this rain comes soon, and when it does come soon, it comes on hard to get in half those tyres. So they're not going to last very long. People in the mediums, I think, are still the better strategy, as the McLaren's around MGL'd. Like I said, I've lost count how many times he's spanned this week.
Now, that might be the jackpot 20. Well, it might be actually just 12. Just a baker's dozen, really, from him. JMO slipping down the position.
Yeah, Daniel's just DRS past him.
He locks up, though, going into that left-hander. Don't think JMO will capitalise off of it, though, but just something to point out. Just on the Mercedes having a little bit of trouble on grip on track, considering he's running the mediums. But Maldy now, he's going to get close to Alphas going into the first turn. He's got around 6 tenths or so. You probably gain around maybe it's a stretch, but if you absolutely burn out your ERS,
he's in contact with
is that going to be another? Oh, for God's sake!
And there's another safety car. Are people going to make risks for intermediates or not? If it is going to be raining, no one's going for the pit stops. So I think the leaders are going to be kind of glad that no one's pitting, so they can get exposed. Because the leaders are now already behind the safety car. This is going to be a very late safety car. No one's making any late dives. Magic has his chance to pick back front of a set of slicks if he doesn't think this rain's coming. If it is, but like I say, it is getting very dark and it is getting very grey and very cloudy.
Well, the question is though, do you think it's going to get wet enough that they have to go on the intermediates, considering it's so late on?
Like I said, I mentioned this before. It's better to be on the intermediates in the dry conditions than it is to be on slicks on the wet conditions. Sorry, did we get to say the same thing twice? Intermediates better in dry conditions than the slicks in wet conditions.
I think you said the same thing twice.
Yeah. So it's obviously, as soon as that rain comes, those slick tyres instantly become, well, basically, it's like driving on ice. But the intermediates, you could still get a few laps out of them under dry conditions that can hold on for a few laps. And there's the rain. I think I just saw some rain off board. I swear I saw some raindrops on the off board. I swear to God I did. On the off board, I swear I saw some rain come down momentarily. Unless it's just me. I just looked off board for a few seconds and I just thought I saw a splash of raindrops. I might not pick up on the stream because the stream's not going to be full quality.
No, I don't think there is.
It's no rain.
No,
I know it's no rain because I can't see anything on the cars. But on the off board, I swear I saw a flash, just some sprinkle of raindrops. I don't know if that was probably just me, my eyes playing with me, but on my phone, I swear something just glittered.
It might be due. It might be the white lines that like determine the safety, the actual track limits, because that does sometimes get a little bit out of focus, which could have caused your eyes like to really think. Oh,
it was certainly it wasn't on the track. It was like in the background, so I could see it all over the screen.
That's probably what it was then. It's definitely no rain.
Maybe it's just the game being a bit funny with the maybe it's a bit of graphics glitch. And the AlphaTauri almost comes to the pits to dominate. The Alpine's in. Jamo's going. You know, I'm going to go for a set of softs. If not, maybe a set of intermediates. He's taking the risk.
We'll see what he comes out on. I mean, I'd be very interested to see if he goes onto the soft compound tyres. I'm not too sure. Is it intermediates? It is intermediates. So now, I mean, I'm more than sure. Yeah, that's pretty much safety car. There's probably going to be some rain coming in. It's yet again. I mean, if this safety car comes in lap 26, which is very unlikely, but if it is to happen, you probably beg for people to not pit. Lap 24, I think it's a bit of a stretch pitting at that time. You've got to go in 30 seconds and 30 seconds in 4 laps. That would amount to around like 6.5 seconds per lap, something like that, which I don't think you can do. Plus, you've got to take into account how long the rain's going to take to actually get the car to intermediate. Sorry, get the track to intermediate weather. Safety car will be in this lap though, as Magic will catch up. But what is your take on this, Matthew?
I just think Yilmaz is in a very difficult situation here because he can't get these tyres at the end. So surely not. He can get these tyres. Yes, we've had 3 safety cars, but there's no way he can make these tyres go for that long. Like I say, safety cars probably helped him, but I just don't know if he can get these tyres at the end. I really don't know if he can. He really needs to hope for some rain, I think. Make a late dive into the pits for a set of intermediates and hope he can gain something from it. Safety cars in this lap. Still no sign of rain.
Well, we'll see what happens as side effects still lead the way from Yilmaz. I'm only joking, I'm not going to say it. But, yeah, so interesting. J-Med pitting for this intermediates, pretty much confirming there will be wet weather later on. But you could say it's a risk not worth taking, for people up top. So I feel like if you're the back markers, if it rains enough on lap 25, you might consider it. Maybe it's still a very, very, very big, risk going into the pit lane so late on. With the rain might not even get the track to actual intermediate tyres. As side effects not wasting any time, getting to full throttle onto the restart they go, and it looks like Yilmaz does not read it once more. Alphas could get another rundown on the Haskell going to turn 1. Yellow flags being thrown up into the mid section of the grid. There's rain on track as Alpha looks for the outside lane. On Yilmaz, side by side he goes onto the exits. With the Haskell, he gets the overtake.
Yeah, but Yilmaz's tyres just don't have the grip anymore. Even under the safety car, it's just going to start. There is definitely rain. Yeah, you've pointed that out perfectly. There is rain on track. Well, there's rain in the sky. It's not really reflecting on the track just yet. But I feel like for JMO, considering he's in the championship fight, it was definitely not a risk worth taking. You got to catch up a ridiculous 10 cars, countering in of course 3-second time penalty on Maldi in 4 laps.
It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. But speaking of, Maldi's getting very close. It's a Yilmaz. Oh! Yilmaz cutting straight in front of Maldi. And if he hit the backside of Yilmaz, you could have betted for Yilmaz to get a penalty. And now there is some raindrops on the TV pod camera now, as Maldi looking to defend the position against Chris, going into the left-hander now. The AlphaTauri down the inside of Maldi. Is he going to get the manoeuvre done and dusted onto the exits? He will, and going into the right-hander, Maldi falls down into 5th place.
Yeah, Maldi being very cautious right now. I don't think he retrusted his conditions. But even Chris, on older hard tyres, is able to get past him. Chris has got lots of confidence, despite being on the worst tyres out of everyone. But I think Yilmaz's softs have just got no grip anymore. They're just not getting performance out of them. They are much older than they're most supposed to be. So we'll see how that works out. I'll say this rain, I don't know. It looks very, very light right now. I don't know if it's going to be wet enough for intermediates towards the end of this race. If
I definitely don't think it
needs to be wet by the end of this lap. If it's not, I think intermediates was the wrong choice.
Well, Chris looking for the overtake here on Yilmaz, like you stated
Yilmaz is
earlier.
struggling.
Those soft tyres are they've gone off now. They're a lot. Gone off more than a milk carton kept in my nan's fridge. But nevertheless, Chris is going to look for the overtake on Yilmaz. Those softs going to be probably around 70 or so percent maybe. It's just not a right call. Yeah, you can definitely see, if you go on board with some people now, definitely can see some raindrops right onto the TV pod camera. So, yet again, Jamie actually lost the position due to it actually being dry conditions on track. By the end of this lap, in the next sector or so, it needs to be absolutely raining cats and dogs for it to be even contention of you know, JMO getting up towards where Maldi is. I feel like Maldi right now, if he knows that JMO's in P14, which he most likely does, he probably think to himself, just stay in P5, get the nice easy points on JMO going into next week. But Chris spins! I could see that coming from a mile away. I saw that he just didn't really have much grip going into that right-hander section. And I knew as soon as I said something like that about Maldi just keeping this position, I knew that he was most likely going to spin on that turn. And he falls down into P8, but we go on to the 26th lap out of 28. Do you think the intermediates were worth the gamble?
No, I think it's too late now. Unless it gets really wet towards the end of this lap now, I just don't see it happening anywhere. They've just dropped off a bit too much, I think, now. But we'll see. As I say, Yilmaz's tyres going off. The easiest way, the best way I can tell that Yilmaz's tyres going off, you can see the graining on his rear. So if you look back at his car, you can see the graining on his rear tyres. If you go flick back to Maldi, that graining is not there. You can see a darker patch, darker stripe down his tyres. You can just tell that's just asking us that his tyres are very badly worn out. You almost barely even see it off Rowski's tyres. Rowski's tyres look a little bit better tyre condition than Maldi's.
Also, something to point out is that DRS is still being enabled lap after lap, so it's not like the rain is too bad that they've had to cancel DRS. So
is Chaos on Chris on the side?
Yeah, they are, and it looks like Chaos getting a better exit of Chris going into the left-hander, and Chris, is he still going to look for it? I think he will, around the outside, but Maldi just up ahead, looking for the overtake on Yilmaz, and he's got it down the inside on that right-hander, and now looks like Viroski's looking for the position, round the outside he goes, onto the Haas car, and look at the AlphaTauri just behind, Mad Max looking for a position as well, he's not going to get it, and Maldi, that's a very critical overtake, he's now into the podium.
Yeah, also I was busy looking at the back there, Maldi. Yeah, back there still in the podium places, but I was looking back with the battle with Chris and Chaos. I think it's still not quite wet enough yet. Maybe getting a bit greasy now, but I think at this point now, I think it's just safe to say that intermediates was not the choice. It should have been wet. It needs to be wet by now, and it's not. So intermediates was not the way to go. Yilmaz is really, really struggling. See a lot of graining on those tyres now. Look very badly worn.
Yeah, and those softs definitely not worth the gamble either. Just felt like if you just stuck to your strategy right up until the end,
yeah, it was
probably,
not worth the risk.
Yeah, you would have been in a much better position right now. But the man, 3-second time penalty, and that's going to drop him down to, I believe, P6, something like that.
P6, P5. Yeah, Yilmaz is still in the chance of getting a podium here, but those tyres are dead, so I'm not sure how much you can hold on much longer.
Yeah, and you can see Borowski in the background could be looking for an overtake on Maldi. I mean, it was a long time coming. I did see Maldi cut a few turns, go one some apexes, so I was pretty much just counting it up until he would eventually have gotten a time penalty. And it looks like Yilmaz has got a battle here on his hands between Mad Max and himself going into this right-hander. Now this is where Maldi overtook him, and it looks like Mad Max is looking to perform a carbon copy. He's not going to though, and going into the left hand. Oh, he's put the back of Yilmaz, and he's gone round because of it. And the AlphaTauri goes for a hit and run manoeuvre. He's up into P5.
Yeah, combination with the greasy track and the very badly worn tyres, that car was so easy to go around. Small as the contact was enough to ask those tyres that I can't handle that grip anymore. It's too greasy as well. The track's going to be greasy, it's not going to help. And that car was way too easy to rotate around. Very, very much lack of grip.
Well, side effects. Side effects. Oh, I thought my controls been burning out there. But side
it's just about got wet enough now. We need to go MJ now. It's his chance to get some places.
Well, we'll see if he can do just. And here he goes. He's trying to get a manoeuvre here on.
MJ's time is going to come in that last sector where it's really going to be sketchy for these slick runners. See, he's actually keeping up now with these slick runners now. He's actually got better grip. Look at the grip he's got. MJ's got grip. The grip has come to him, but at a very, very late stage. He's going to have better performance now compared to these guys. He's got a low back of these guys now. Not quite any of spray yet, but he's got the temperature. He's got the grip now. He's got the battery as well. He's got a full tank of battery. He can use all of it.
There we go. He's looking for that position there. On repeater, going down into, I believe, the left-hander, and he gets the overtake done and dusted on the Haas car, and he moves up into P9. But the man who has stuck into P1 ever since he got that pole position has been Side Effects. Picture perfect race for him. He'll now come round the last turn. Side Effects across that checkered line, and he wins the Coaster Grand Prix here in USA. A fantastic.
All in contact with Flutto and Chris at the end in the penultimate corner, and Yilmaz is coming. His tyres are somehow not exploding. Oh! That's not what we want to see. Chris just doing it for Lotto.
What did I just see?
I just saw Chris just try to take out Lotto.
Well, that's it for him.
He's given another 20-second time penalty for a glitch. That'll be removed. It's not the first time he's received that.
Yep, and Chris is now going to officially be banned from the STB Racing League. So, not really things you want to see, but nevertheless, it is over, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Side Effects, even though my controller decided to turn off as soon as I was going to say it. Coming round the last term, and he takes the victory here in the US of A in Kota. Great race from him, picking up 25 crucial points and overtaking Yilmaz, I believe, in the Drivers' Championship. I'm not too sure though. Looks like we'll get some interviews in. These will include the top 3. That is if we can get them in. I mean, sometimes people are on PS where we can't invite them to the party, and we won't be able to interview them. But just need some time to load. See if I can go ahead and interview some people, and we can interview the top 3. That's Side Effects, that's Alpha Z, and that's also STB Melody. So we'll invite them all. See if they want to do some interviews. If not, then it's completely fine. Alpha Z looks like he is looking to do an interview, and Malfio, learning from last time, I think you can recall he can actually speak English.
Yeah,
Maldi will join the party now.
Keep it simple, clean.
Oh,
just make it a little bit easier.
Bro, I know now. It was one interview, man. It was one interview, but I just went extended on a bloody question. Now you remind me every single bloody time I'll do an interview. But
right, let's run down first. Before it goes over, I'll quickly do it because we've got 20 seconds left. So, we've got Side Effects in P1, obviously wins the race for the United States Grand Prix. Alpha B P2, Maldi getting a P podium in the end. That's all that. Borowski P4 with Max P5, Memgel P6, Chaos P7, Rafita P8, Yilmaz P9, Matador P10, Daniel P11, Magic P12, Otto P13, Cannon P14, Jamo P15, and everyone else has just been lapped or been DNF'd.
Well, that's it then for your USA Grand Prix, but we've got interviews here next live here on Twitch. We've got both Alpha Z and Maldi joining our party for some interviews. I think I'll ask Maldi some questions first, see how he's feeling after the Grand Prix. So Maldi, if you can include your audio.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, perfect. And would just like to ask you a question recalling the championship. A very good race for you today, finishing at the podium. What does this mean going into next week for Mexico?
Well, firstly, I just want to just say well done to Side Effects and Alpha's. Good race from those guys. But yeah, second place could have been on the cards today, so I could have got a few more points, I think, if I didn't make that stupid mistake. Getting a penalty and losing time. But about Mexico, I'm looking forward. It's in my top 5 favourite tracks. Matt will know, absolutely incredible. Like history, I've got 2 wins there. It's my most successful track in league racing. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just going to try and do my best there. So yeah.
Yep, thank you very much, Maldi. Going on to Alpha Z though, you finished a P2 in the Grand Prix. Great race from you. Anything to recall on that?
Well, it was a weird race for me because I got spun in the first lap, so I went to last. But then I got great pace all of a sudden, and I just got to P2. But Side Effects is just way too quick. No chance catching him. But this was very fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. And speaking of Side Effects, he's also joined the party here tonight. Side Effects, great 25 points for you here tonight, also qualifying on pole. Your thoughts on the race tonight? Thank you very much, Alpha Z, Side Effects, and Maldi, taking your time out of the day to do some interviews with us here live on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube and also TikTok. We've got next week Tier 3, exactly the same day, exactly same time, where we look on to Mexico, see if Maldi can take away some more crucial points, or actually seal the deal right there. We'll see. And also, you can also join us next Monday for Tier 1 Mexico. We'll see what happens over there. And Tier 2 Mexico, always a good race in Tier 2. Plenty of action. We'll see you next week if you would like to watch us here, yes again, live on Twitch. Thank you for watching, and good night.